Hello, friends. I'm Susan Axelrod, the Confidence Coach. I'm here with my podcast co host, media mogul, and media coach, Kornelia Stephanie. Welcome to Women Who Radiate Wealth, where we show up as we are and have fun in business. Our focus is on women's entrepreneurship, where we empower female entrepreneurs. We share with you financial and emotional self-confidence in business while making your offer, being intentional and purposeful with what you want to bring to fruition. Today, we'll be talking about publishing the book in you and how that can support your business. Many entrepreneurs have a dream of publishing a book. Intuitive wisdom rises, and you just can't help wanting to share out your message that you know will support humanity. But how do you get to it? How do you get to do it? And then when you do it, have you gotten it right? I'm going to ask Kornelia these questions and then give her an opportunity to change something that has been on her heart about her book. Kornelia, let's get to it. Let's discuss your book, Peace, the Flip Side to Anger.
Hey, Susan. I just love doing these podcasts with you. How long? I don't even know what episode this is. Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
I'm having Ashley create a playlist, by the way, and she's putting them in a row. So soon we'll know, episode what we're at. But, since we started this particular series, you've been introducing the show, and it's so great to be able to sit back and have you introduce the show, because I trust you so much. I love you so much. I know one thing about you is that you're going to be able to, I have to catch up to you with as many times a day as you show up on social media. So I couldn't have given it to a better person to open the show so that I can take a minute and relax, because you and I, we lead various different groups. And so it's really an honor and a pleasure to do this with you and inspire the women to rise into their best, right?
Absolutely. I feel grateful and honored to be able to introduce this show. Kornelia, we don't know how many episodes it is because we're not in the counting game. We're not in that space. We show up as we are and have fun with each other. It doesn't matter how many we've done. And also, we're just going to keep doing it as long as we can show up as we are and we can have fun together in business. So that really is the way I feel. Listen, I'm going to have to ask you to be the timekeeper because I have a lot to say today. Okay.
I got you.
All right.
Here's the other thing about this show is no, this is fine. Never mind my nope, I'm going to be the timekeeper. Got it.
Okay. Here we go. This. Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you see?
Yeah.
Can you see what's happening here?
Yeah. Actually, look. It's kind of like happening like that here too. Do you see?
And this, I don't know if you can see my marks. You may or may not be able to see it, Kornelia. Yeah, exactly. When we met, I can't even remember it all, to tell you the truth. All I know is that at some point I decided to buy your book to support you. That's all. I met you. We got to know each other. And this is one of the things that we do, Kornelia. We support other women in business, right? It's a value we both have. We give everything we have to other women entrepreneurs, other women in business. We support them however we can. We give it all. And so for me, I have my own published books. And so I wanted to buy your book because I wanted to support you. Then I read it. Something happened in my life, as you very well know. It was very, very hard, very sad, very difficult. I called you. You were there for me, and you supported me. I'm so past that, Kornelia. I'm trying to pull forth even the memory of. I only remember the feeling of it. Okay, but anyway, then I read your book. And honestly, it's just so important because I had anger in me about something and I didn't want to. And when I read your book, on page 91 of your book, that's called Peace, the Flip Side to Anger, um, there's a few symptoms of inner peace. And I just cannot say how much I want people to buy this book. Go to page 91 and read the symptoms of inner peace, and then journal about them, put them up on your wall, and really commit to them. I have more I want to talk to you about. So, this isn't a book show. We're going to do another book show episode about that. But I also want to go to page 93, Cornelia. At the top of the page, I wrote on my little Post-it note here, it says prayer. At the top of page 93, it says, may you bring your peace, your gratitude, your love, your consciousness, and your joy into each and every present moment. And I wrote on my little page, can you see it? It says,
Yeah.
amen. And then I wrote my prayer. And the reason this was relevant for me, Cornelia, is that I also, I call my coaching 100% in your control. And that's all that you talk about in this chapter, where you're really talking, or actually the whole book, but in this chapter in, on becoming a warrior of peace, you really help us in your book understand that it's all in you. You talk about practicing peace. You're sharing the symptoms of inner peace. It's just so beautiful. So, okay, I could go on, but I just wanted to like give you a little of that for you to really know where I'm coming from with this book. I do want to ask you, how did you get to this book, Cornelia? How did you get to it? And how did you get to do it? Can you share that story with us a little bit?
It's so interesting. Well, first, can I say that I really want to read this myself again? I
Oh,
think I think we all should, take our own books and really start. Maybe I know you're in the process right now of building your YouTube channel, but maybe you take another, like maybe you start doing some of your lives when you're doing there and start quoting some of your own. We laugh about this, we talk about this, quoting ourselves, but like the symptoms of inner peace. I mean, it's hard to believe looking at this today that this was written in 2014.
I know. Yes.
Right? Like that's just like so awesome.
I mean, it is part of what resonated with me so deeply, that a little bit ahead of the curve you were, and that's really why I want to know, like, how did you get to this? Where did this come from in you?
Well, this is my work. So this is what I teach with my, the emotional mastery, and with the work that I've done and what I specialize in, and that's uh, emotional processing. So this is a healing modality that I developed. So I didn't need to take anyone else's healing modality, and there's wonderful ones out there. But soul work, my soul invited me, wanted my own, wanted it because that's what it said. I want my own. I want my own. So I was guided there, and then down a very painful journey into the emotional core root wounded, processing what all of that means. At the time I didn't know, but then once I started getting into it and started seeing the layers of it and how deep that was and what that entailed. So the reason in 2014 I could speak like this is because at that point in time I had already moved through a large part of emotionally processing grief and loss and the wounds of our past, the emotional trauma that had been stored in my physical body, not just from this life, but from other lives as well. So I had gotten to a point in 2013, actually, that I was able to look at future timelines that existed in the future, able to see future timelines, and then see that, okay, in 6 months down the line, this particular timeline could be playing out, and you can process that emotional loss right now. So in the book, I don't know where it is right now, but there's a part where it says, I emotionally process the physical universe. I process the universe through my physical body. That's what I mean by that. It's that I would future process loss and timelines. And so then when they then would take place, like 6 months later or 8 months later, I had already processed the emotion around it. So I was not as deep in shock and grief like sometimes we are when we experience loss. So then when I would experience some of those losses, I had already done the emotional processing. And I had done a lot of that for this type of work at that point in time. And then at some point in late 2013, I made the conscious decision to stop processing future timelines. And the reason why is we become addicted as humans to certain things and whatnot. And I had already had this was already a core. All the wounds, all the work was already a big core of mine. The process that had already been neutralized, if you will. And so I wanted to, the emotional processing work, it's grief. Processing one's emotions, whether they're your own or collective emotion, it's grief, and sitting with the grief. So I'd gotten to a point where I wanted to stop processing the future, possible timelines that I see, that, okay, I have this now, and that now I just want to carry on, and I don't want to necessarily look at the possibles, because you could get addicted to that and just year after year after year just keep processing. So I made the choice to stop that at that time. But then I had gone in, and you asked me, how did I get to this book? Well, honestly, Susan, at the end of in 2013, pretty much towards the end of 2013, I would never have thought that I was going to write a book about peace. So that it was not a goal. That's not something I sought out to do. That wasn't a dream of mine. None of those things. It was like not even on my radar. Okay.
Interesting. Yeah,
not
that's
even
interesting.
on the radar. It was not on the radar at all. But you know what was? So here's my process. One of my processes. So I do things that I do for the soul and that I do for God when I'm called. And so then all of a sudden I went again to source, to God, and I said, I need to know this. And notice when I said, I need to know, because what does knowing means? Knowing means in order for you to know something, you have to really have the experience of it. That, because once you know something, you cannot not know it.
That's right. That's exactly what I say. You can't not know what you know. Yes.
So I went to source and I said, I want to know something. And I said, and I really want to know why this is. And then my question to source, to God, was, why do we as humans, who seem to be so educated and seem to be so alert, why do we have war, violence, killing on this planet? And why do we, even after 2,000 years, why are we still operating from that level of consciousness as a human race? How embarrassing. And why do we still have that here? Where has the failure been all those years ago? And why are we still doing that? And how do we stop it? And what is the cause for war on this planet? So that was how I got to I took the question to the source. And then I was taken by a whirlwind into an experience for like 6 months. You know, Brene Brown, she's a researcher.
Mm-hmm.
And so Brene Brown talks about it from a scientific perspective. When she does her works and her talks or whatever, she goes and researches things, and then she talks about it. I've always been an experiential learner and an experiential teacher and a student and knower. So I could speak on the same things that Brene Brown talks about, but I'm certainly not doing that type of a research, you know, to talk about human behavior or understand human relationships. But I'm more of the person that's going to have the experience, and then I can talk to you about it. So that's the thing. And I got to this book by being involved in an experience for 6 months to understand why we still have war on this planet. And what I discovered after the 6 months was over was that it's uneducated people that don't know what to do with their emotions that cause war. And they use tools like guns or verbal abuse or violence or whatever, but ultimately it's uneducated people. They don't know that they're acting on their emotions and that they want revenge. So that's why the title of the book is Peace, the Flip Side to Anger, how I used my emotions to heal my life and my body, and how you can too. Peace, the flip side to anger, because obviously we can't be hypocrites. Go to the churches. Yeah. We can't be hypocrites and continue on the same behaviors. We can't be angry peace activists standing on the corner, being pissed off, but, you know, promoting peace. We have to know how to heal the war that's within each of us, inside of ourselves. And that's the war of the anger. Okay.
So I just want to address this, the whole idea of the experiential nature of your work, of your connection, of your coaching, of your spiritual advising. Having received it, as I mentioned earlier, it's so organic. The fact, it's obvious that you have experienced it. So when you could listen to me with your full experience, listen to me with your ears, and feed back to me from your soul experience, I can only say I have experienced that with you. And that's why I think the book resonated so deeply, our conversations resonated so deeply. And honestly, I do think that that was one of the things that got me on my path to healing, to move forward. So wow. That's a conversation for another podcast. But now I'm just realizing that. So I really say I've experienced how your experience supports your work. So that's how you came to it. How did you get to do it? How do I have a book sitting here in my hands?
Yeah, that's so good. And so I just want to also say, Susan, I know that this was a podcast that was planned for 30 minutes. And I just want to say off the record that you and we usually record 2 podcasts back to back. So I recommend that we just stay on and stretch out this time. And, you know, when we're done, we're done. But if you have the time, okay, is that good?
Yeah, definitely.
Good. So how did I get to it? So, you know, once I had that information, basically, okay, here I went to source. Now I know this. Now I know this. And then it was like, now I want you to write a book about it. Now I want you to write a book about what causes war on this planet, you know, what it is, because you now have information that you can serve, and you came to me. Now I want you to write a book about it. And that's basically what happened, is that now you're going to write a book. And listen, Susan, I didn't even go to high school in the United States. You know, writing English, grammar, the whole thing, that's not my forte. Plus, I didn't have any money. to write and publish a book and come up, I'm a struggling entrepreneur at that time. And it's like, I'm not struggling, and I'm not a struggling entrepreneur today because I've released the struggle, but I was a struggling entrepreneur at that time.
Yeah.
But anyway, so now it was like, okay, now now you're going to write the book. And so then once that decision was everything happened very fast, and when I say very fast, I'm in this experience, wow, and now you're going to write the book. I had never even considered like what about publishing or any of these things. Like, just no, you're just going to do it. So showing up fully in the experience, now you are going to have the experiences to write about. And that's exactly what happened. I ended up in my experience, and then titling chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. That's kind of like how it happened.
Yeah.
So writing about it from that stance. Yeah.
So a few things. Number one, I am a book Sherpa coach. And what that means is that I work with people who have material already written. I'm not the book coach where you speak to me and I write your book. I work with people who have so much, entrepreneurs like us, who have so much material already written, usually journal, pieces and blogs and articles and posts and, writings in a notebook, and we begin to pull it together. And that is how I do it. You say the chapters kind of wrote themselves. So that's why I know I want to affirm that is real. That is how it happens. Because Kornelia, really, I said it already in the introduction, so many entrepreneurs do want books, and they do want to know, how did you get one? How did you get to do this? And you're sharing with us, well, I had to experience first. Then I asked, God the question, what am I to do with this? And it was clearly, write a book. So I want to share for a second one of the most powerful pieces for me, which was, here it is, that about the anger. Talk about your experience and about letting go of the anger. Was the quote, it's a quote by Buddha that you included. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent to throw it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. And then you go on to write about this. In the end, it is always your anger. I wrote in capital letters, my anger, right? Underneath that anger are feelings of powerlessness waiting to be released. And you talk about your own liberation. I mean, I have so much underlined here. And then, but there's another piece that I feel like is really connected.
Can you hold on? Oh,
sure.
It's like, bring that other piece up here in a minute. But the part that you were talking about, what Buddha said, read that quote again.
Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent to throw it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned.
That's actually the part. So when I go to God and I ask the question, why do we still have war on this planet? Why, even after, Jesus was here a couple thousand years ago, why, even as, enlightened we could be, why do we still have that? Why do we still have war? And then look at what Buddha said. Buddha said, holding on to anger is like a hot coal, and that you're going to throw at someone. So that throwing is the war. That throwing is the gun. That throwing is the verbal violence abuse. That holding on, suppressing in the physical body, you're the one that gets burned, is holding on that suppressed anger and storing it possibly in your liver, possibly in your kidneys, or maybe in your stomach, over and over and over again, because we never felt safe to express our anger, or the uneducated humans that never knew how to process their emotion, because anger is emotion, an emotion, a very raw one, because I can promise you right now that even the Dalai Lama gets pissed off.
Yeah.
Okay, the Dalai Lama does not express his emotions.
Yep.
Desmond Tutu does not express his emotions. I've heard the Dalai Lama slam his fist on the table and said, "Stop being passive aggressive here." Okay, so that stop, that's anger. If it was more forceful, and if it wasn't educated, it would be an unconscious emotion projected out, picking up a gun and doing a school shooting. That's what I'm talking about. That's actually the key right there.
Yes. To be clear, I am a highly formally educated individual. I went to a top college, 4-year degree, et cetera. But boy, was I not educated in this. Was I not educated in this? So I really, and I think that's why the book resonated so deeply with me. It really was actually like an education for me in the processing of emotions, because all of our lives, especially as girls coming into women, our emotions are suppressed, just stuff it, stuff it, stuff
Women,
it.
and then look at look at all the sick people that are out there that possibly have, any type of, because my belief is that any type of sickness that we hold on that's in our body is first, the root of it is unprocessed emotions that are stored in the organ, in that organ, over and over and over again over time, because it was never safe. And then we have something that we're sick, and now what do we need? We need to go to the doctor because we need to be healed and we need help. Except for our medical system is trained and set up to not get to the root of what it really is going on, because then if that was the case, the medical person then would say to you, how's everything going at home? What are you feeling? What's happening in your life? That kind of thing. But no, our medical system is set up to band-aid the symptom. And so then let's write a prescription and let's get you feeling better. Let's suppress that just a little bit more.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and when you're talking about education, you went and got educated, you were in college and all that. So many people. And that's why this line of work needs to be in every school system, because imagine like 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds or 14-year-olds or 16-year-olds, if they knew what to do with their emotions, and they knew how to process their emotion as a basic life skill, as a martial art, as an alchemical empowerment, instead of doing all those rebellious sexual things or behaviors that the children have of today's world. Don't underestimate that they couldn't learn how to do this and really get this and use this as life skills. And that's what needs to start at home. It needs to start with the parents. But it was interesting, Susan, as you can tell, I'm passionate about this. When I brought the book out, a lot of my spiritual community back in the day, it was my new age community, and I'm not affiliated there anymore, but back in the day, that's what it was. And a lot of those spiritual people, guess what they told me? You're gonna laugh. Oh, I don't have any anger. You must be talking about my brother.
Oh, that's surprising. I wasn't expecting that. It's funny. You've heard me say it many times on air and in our group meetings, and I may be the confidence coach. That doesn't mean I'm supremely confident about every single thing. I say that all the time. 100% right, Cornelia. 100% right. Actually, that actually leads me to the other thing that I wanted to say, which was stop blaming, projecting, and judging others. You told me to remember it, and I literally have it here. Choose to respond. How to accept responsibility for your own emotions. Choose to respond in a conscious, responsible way, clearly feeling your emotions. Second, stop blaming, projecting, and judging others. Stop pointing the finger at them, saying, highlight, my highlight. You are doing this to me. that holds you in the victim role. When you accept responsibility for your own feelings, you will share all of yourself from a non-judgmental, empowered space. This is 100% what is in my area of coaching as well. It's your responsibility. When you accept the responsibility, then you are in control. But as long as you go outside of yourself, right, pointing out instead of pointing in and going deep for that soul connection that you were talking about, then, it's all out of your control. And so this is in the patriarchal society of the old earth, the old world, all the comparing, all the blaming, all the judging, all the not taking self-responsibility, that does lead to, anger and all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I think, again, even looking at it today, when people back in, like I said, when I published that book in 2014, 2015, people said to me, "Oh, I've already done that. I've already processed my anger. I don't have any." I cannot imagine, like, in today's world, I just want to say, in today's world, who isn't angry about something. Because here's, let's I want to get to this point, and then we can but the part about, you read that part, is that what's underneath that anger. And that's the part we want to get to, because here's the thing that people think. People think because there's war, and people think that when you get angry, or when people are angry, that it's a bad thing to be angry, when actually that's actually the opposite. It's only what we do with the anger. That's where, again, the responsibility lies, and the education lies. What do we do with it? What do we do with it? How do we deal with all of these guns? How do we deal with all of this emotion? How do we deal with all of this injustice that's right here? Because every single one of these human beings that has anger underneath, there is something underneath that anger that is waiting to be heard. There is a truth that is waiting to be claimed. And at first, the reason why the person's pissed off, because suddenly there is an inner bullet that's going off. And all of a sudden now, if you don't know what to do with the emotion, you may pick up a bat. You may pick up something. You may want to barf verbally. You know, if you don't know what to do, you may want to punch somebody, because if you're not aware of your emotion. Education. So the thing about it is, and then every time when I ask a person what's underneath that anger, and there's because it's not true, there's something that's underneath there that they have not communicated yet, and that they feel violated in one form or another. Something's been lied to, they feel violated, they feel not listened to, they feel not heard, they feel betrayed, abandoned, whatever it may be. But underneath that, now all of a sudden, let's get to the truth. And then once that anger is removed, and realize, like, that's there, and then the person can actually say,
it says, so what I'm telling you, this is so great. Are you being attentive to yourself, right? Releasing you from the victim role. And I'm not going to share it here because this isn't about me, but I did write, it says, who is really responsible for your feeling anger? What is it, underneath? And I wrote an I feel statement.
What did
I did? I wrote to myself. I'm not going to share it here, but I did write what came up for me.
Okay, so then I could say, I feel like, I'll say, not knowing what you said or what your thing is, but I'll just say that I feel that you didn't listen to me, and that you tried to bully me over. And I feel like you tried to get in the bulldozer and just like try to bulldoze me over, and you try to really take advantage of me. And that's why I was angry. And I'm not gonna, that's the reason why I'm so upset. And now I want to tell you, and the reason why that's important is because from this day forward, I'm not letting anyone bulldoze me anymore, because I've just released that anger.
Right.
I didn't make you wrong or bad. I didn't hurt anyone. I didn't hold it in myself. I brought it out, and I brought my truth out. And the truth is, from this day forward, I'm empowered, and I'm not going to allow anyone to bulldoze me over.
So that leads to the next chapter, which is called the peace practice. What is emotional processing? And we're not going to talk about that, except I do want to say, again, on page 106 in Cornelia's book, Peace, the Flip Side to Anger, you will receive a gift of the translation of these core wounds. I call them sacred wounds. They're core wounds, as Cornelia describes them. If we're feeling this, for example, if we're feeling betrayal as one of them, for example, what we want to feel is trust. So you may or may not know this. If once you come up with these feelings, these core wound feelings, these emotions underneath, just to make it easier for you to breathe and to be in the space of healing, Cornelia is basically giving you some ideas here. If we feel survival, just barely surviving, then what we want to feel column says abundance and flow. So this is a really powerful little table, 2-column table that you will that will support you in your journey of emotional processing. Honestly,
there's one other part that I think is really an important piece for people to realize when it comes to the processing of emotions. But they can get this learning how to process one's emotions is one of the most freeing, liberating, healing modalities that you can do. Because here's the thing about emotional processing: it doesn't require anyone else, just you. And you already have the emotions in your body. And the only thing you need to do is really just really know, like, what is the way through this. And with any type of processing of emotion,
I want to call out a tweet. I don't know if you've ever seen Oprah do this, but she says, "Oh, that's a good one. Tweet this. Emotional processing doesn't require anyone else but you."
yeah, that's a tweet.
That's a tweet.
That's a tweet. And so here's, you can go to, if you were to go to my website, I don't know if I still have this, but the bottom line is Emotions 101. That's where it comes from, Emotions 101. Learning that there's 2 types of emotions. There's love and there's fear. And then, if you write underneath the love category, what are all the emotions underneath there? Joy, bliss, happiness, all of the good, loving emotions. And then on the fear kind, anger, frustration, rejection, all of those, right? So that's part of Emotions 101. However, learning how you express your emotion is another piece. And on that page 106, on the top of the page, there are 4 ways in which a person can express or deal with their emotions. And knowing how your client, deals with them shifts the balance of power from the emotion back to the person. So the question to ask yourself then is, how do you, as a person, express your emotion? Do you suppress it, deny it? That means that you're trying to hide the emotion from yourself by trying to avoid it. So that's one thing. Do you do that? Do you withhold it by being aware of it, but consciously choosing not to express it? Or do you unconsciously express it? And lots of people, the war starters, the fight starters, those people, the unconscious expression, they're dumping it on another or blaming each other. And then the conscious experiencing and expressing. Those are the ones that are willing to feel the emotion fully with clear expression and self-responsibility. So That's an important piece to you yourself know what's my MO. Like there's that book, The 5 Love Languages or whatever, when you know
Yeah.
what your love language is, like how do you express your emotion? That's a really good important piece. How do you express your anger? Do you normally withhold it? Do you project it onto your partner? What's your MO? Do you suppress it and hold it in? Do you know about it and don't say anything and then come to the table, go, hi, everything's fine? No. What do you do? So that's an important piece, because I said emotional processing is the key to your liberation, because when you can really fully dive in to your emotions and process them through, why am I angry? What pisses me off about this? What is this about? What is that about? And learn to really see what you're releasing here and letting go and what's underneath all of that. That's freeing.
It looks like I'm not paying attention, but I'm like reading the book in front of you all over again. It's so funny looking through it. I looked for my pen to write a note in the front of the book to myself. Okay. So I want to call out one thing, then I want to move to another question that's really important. So I want to let you know, friends, that in this book is a built-in program, the 21 piece practice week, the 21 piece practice. And so there's 3 weeks, day 1, week 1, day 2, etc. There's all kinds of workshop, work pages for you to questions to answer. So thoughtful, so helpful, so supportive of your emotional processing. And what I love about this, Kornelia, is, as a coach, I always get to apply. I call it the apply with my clients. I'm like, I'm not telling you anything. I could say whatever I want. You're not going to really process and integrate it just because I'm telling it to you. So let's apply it. Right.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're giving them the opportunity, the readers of this book, the opportunity right embedded in the book is the opportunity to, do some of that applying, processing, and integrating the material. Now, Kornelia, I want to get to something else that's really important when you write a book. When you write a book, depending on the process, even if you do work with a large publisher and a really formal editor, sometimes later things change in your life, or you have different thoughts that you might have done something a different way. And in our conversations, this came up because, of course, I have my own books. I'm working on my 4th book right now that's going to be called Dear Future Self. My 3rd book here that's published, my anthology, is called Dear Younger Self. And so the next one I'm working on is Dear Future Self. And you shared something with me that I want to really rectify here and now. When you were working with a reader, I believe, or an editor, sometimes we work with advanced readers, you had a piece in your book that was very, very beautiful. It was almost like, I don't want to define what it was. That would be my word. You were working with a piece that you had personally written, and in the book, it's called Imagine. And it begins, imagine a world where dreams come true. Imagine all the people living life in peace. Imagine a world where all the children are safe and fed. And it goes on and on. And I said, how beautiful. And you said, Susan, I wanted to write that a different way. This is on page, the Roman numeral 16. You said, I wanted to write that a different way. And it was advised to me by someone who was an expert to write it this way. I said, really? How did you want to write it? So I want to ask you to share with us briefly, how did it happen that you wanted to do something, but then you did what the expert said? And then I want to give you the opportunity to read it the way you wanted it to be.
So this is so good because, over the course of, especially over the course of the last decade, all the places in my relationships, in my interpersonal relationships, in my friendships, any place within, outside that I had given my power away, looking for approval, that I came up into the experience. And this was one of those times because, when we ask other people, what do you think? When we ask other people, what do you think? Or when we listen to them, oh my God, this is so good because, we do this.
I know we're going to do another podcast episode on that whole topic.
Oh my God, that's so big because I mean, oh my God. So when we listen to other people and their filters and let them influence us, yet we had something, and like, really, what was that about? And I listened to that person who was an author, and he was actually an editor in my book, someone that I love, admire, and respect. But he was coming from his own filter. And he was a man, and I have no apology. No, I'm not talking about men or women, but the way I had it written, it was I'm about women's empowerment. I'm working for the divine feminine. A man is not going to be able to tell me, he wouldn't know because he's not a woman. You have to be a woman in order to know it, that part. So because he is a man, so he was coming from his own filter, and I am I'm a futurist. I'm a visionary. I'm a futurist, and I'm also speaking. I'm a humanitarian, and I'm also speaking for the uninvited, the unempowered place. And as a coach, as a one who developed my own healing modality over the years, I've also known that beliefs, negative limiting beliefs in the subconscious, how we were conditioned from the age of 0 to 7, when we were open and vulnerable children to our parents and society and our school and our teachers, those subconscious beliefs we ingrained. And then when we grow up, we become adults, we realize, oh, maybe that's not true for me today. And so a belief is something that can be changed. We can change a belief. We can change a negative limiting belief to something empowering. We can change that right here, right now. And once a belief becomes the new, then, a belief is what helps us create our life. When I say, because we create based on our beliefs. We create based on our beliefs. So our knowing, we become, once we know something, we can't not know it. But we create based on the things we believe. I believe the world is a safe place. I believe I'm safe. These we create based on our beliefs. So this page actually had the top, instead of where it says imagine, the page was actually written as I believe. The page was written as I believe. So it went from I believe to imagine. So here's how the page was written. You said the first 3 words. You said, you read it from imagine, and I'm going to say, I believe a world where dreams come true. I believe in all the people living life in peace. I believe in a world where all the children are safe and fed. I believe in a world where we all take responsibility for ourselves and transmute our anger and pain into understanding and setting ourselves free. I believe in a world where we all live in freedom as responsible leaders for our own lives. I believe in a world where we all accept ourselves and each other unconditionally. I believe in a world where we are in love with ourselves and with all others. I believe in a world where we accept our greatness and our divine birthright. I believe in a world where love is the law. I believe in a world which is free of judgment, free of struggle, and free of pain. I believe in a world where we, the people, are radiating our true divine essence. I believe in a world where we deeply feel joy and sorrow, ecstasy and despair, knowing it nurtures us equally. I believe in a world which begins with each of us personally. I believe in a world where peace and love are the choices made by all. I believe in a world where this is already complete. I believe in the endless possibilities. I believe in the world where we now live as one. Will you join us?
It is now spoken in the way that it was originally intended. Absolutely. I love how you helped us understand these are not just words, but this is how we work with our belief systems. This is how we can, in fact, change, transform our belief systems. This is how you show yourself to be the transformational practitioner you are. And as we know, when you speak it out, it is so.
That's so great. Susan, I just want to thank you so much. You just really, you know, I want to say you made my day, but that's really not true because my day was already made. But you just brought it to the top of the cake again, to bring this out because this was your idea. This was your idea. This was not something that I would have done or brought out. So I want to thank you. I want to thank you for acknowledging and seeing the value in this and this gift and bringing it here to this podcast and having, taking your time and having this discussion with me today. This is another one of those for the record books and another reason why I love you. And it's like, oh my God, this is so great, Susan.
Yeah, thank you so Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, this is what we do for each other. And I want to say to anyone, you have the opportunity to join us in the Kornelia Stephanie Media Group. It's fun. We do this all the time. And we're going to continue to have these conversations in upcoming episodes. Now we already have a topic area. I wrote it down. When you give your power away, Kornelia, that's going to be one of our upcoming episodes in Women Who Radiate Wealth. Kornelia, friend, when you're ready, I would love and encourage you to do a recording of your I believe statements for your YouTube channel.
That's good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And
really
I will look forward to that and I will share it far and wide.
Yeah. And you know what, Susan, I actually, I'm giving you full on 100% permission to always say to me, hey, Kornelia, this is what we want more of you. We want more of this. We want more of this. Because normally I really don't have anybody saying anything like that to me. So I would love that. I would love to hear what people want more of. And because there's an unlimited supply of this kind of energy, it's unlimited. It's like, yeah, it's prosperous, it's abundant, it's beautiful, it's heaven on earth, it's living in the 5D. And this trek, pioneering for the new earth, has been a long journey, and I live here now, and it's great. And so do I ever fall into times of pain or sorrow? I do. And when I do, I know exactly what to do. And that is to go and dive in and feel the grief of the dying world or the relationship loss or the passing of a friend. And bring my presence there, my gratitude for our walk in this lifetime. And that's where we are now. So it's a really magical time. It's a magical time, and it's also an intense time, right?
Yeah, 100%. And you remind me, though I'm the confidence coach, sometimes I too come forth as, also being in suffering. And then you remind me this is an intense time, and that built into our regular days, we still want to give time for grieving the loss of what is. As we go forward, there is beauty. As you can see from our conversation today, you can see Kornelia completely transforming something that was old, and you can do this anytime you want, friends. Kornelia, One for the books.
One for the books. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Susan, so much. Everyone, thank you for listening, and we're going to see you again real soon here. But for now, you and I are already knocking it out of the park because we're partners in this. We've been assigned. That's so great. We didn't have anything to do with it, but so we were assigned partners to support each other in our marketing, upcoming marketing this week. And so here we are. We want you to get ahead of the curve, the audience, and we want you to go to the App Store and we want you to download the KS Media Group app. Go there, log in, create your free account, get your free ebook, and then go to the directories. And it's under directories, and then click on resources, and you're going to see Susan's name, and you're going to see my name, and you're going to see many of the other world's best influencers there. And go check us out, because we're your one-stop shop for inspiration, education, support, everything to help you to live your best life. So hurry up and go get that app. It's free, and it's going to support you. And all of the podcasts that are listed under the directory are podcasts like this that are just going to blow your socks off and that are just going to help you. You don't have to go anywhere else. It's just all right there to help you live your best life. So
full disclosure, Kornelia, as you know, I have it on my phone, and I've told you many times, I go there, instead of watching television, or if I'm working on something else and I'm, whatever, doing the kitchen or whatever, I go there and I listen to them. Our own colleagues. I mean, honestly, in addition to inspiration, uplift, and motivation, you're also just going to have plain fun. So,
go get the app, because you're going to see we're going to be marketing this now. We're going to be sharing it more and more and more. Everybody's going to be talking about it because there's a new app in town. It's your app, and we want you to go get it.
Go get it. Thank you, Kornelia. See you soon.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.